Deacon Turner, Father Rich, you are in the eye of the storm, for want of a better term right now. What are you and the clergy doing to galvanize your community?
I think the most important thing that we're doing is we're being present. We're keeping the church doors open. We're letting our community know that we are there, and we're not fleeing. We're in for the long haul, and Baltimore and our neighborhoods are important to us, and we're going to be there.
Deacon Turner, talk to me just a little bit about the history of the neighborhood. Like, how far are you from the more heated of the disturbances, and how different is this, aside obviously from the level of the disturbance, from what happens on a day-to-day?
Well, the closest fire to us was about 5 blocks away. Also, we are located next to the Baltimore City Jail, right across the street from there. So there were some protests right around the school area. But we have been in one of the most impoverished neighborhoods in Baltimore since 1828. Nearly 190 years our presence has been here. It's never been the happiest part of Baltimore, frankly, and St. Francis Academy has always been a safe haven. We've never considered the neighborhood particularly safe, but our doors have always been open to the community. There's very few people in the area that have not set foot here in St. Francis Academy, either to worship, sometimes just to relax in our community center, to get free health care, to have their kids participate in our summer camps. The campus itself is surrounded by a fence, which has 3 gates, and those gates are never locked. So even when the building itself is locked, the campus never is. And there's always been a great deal of respect, even from the criminal element here in the building. Just they don't mess with sisters, and they don't mess with God. And so we've always been very blessed here to not have too many crimes happen on the campus.
Sounds like a good choice to me. I had a very interesting conversation with Dr. Alveda King the other day. And she mentioned that in the 60s, they abolished prayers from the school. In the 70s, they legalized abortion. And today, as we speak, they are trying to redefine traditional marriage. My question to each of you is, are we reaping what our society has sown over the last few generations, speaking from our spiritual perspective?
I'm not sure I would trace it exactly that way. I think that the dynamics that are at work are really much harder than that. I think they have to do with how people live, where they live, what are their opportunities to care for their own families. And in many ways, I think one of the challenges of the church is to look at the real economic and political situations in which people are living, and really stand with the poor. I'm not sure we've always done that, and I think that this is what we're reaping is a lot of this is coming from both a racial and a poverty perspective.
Okay.
I think those are the most important things that we're dealing with right now.
Deacon Turner.
Well, I think the message that we try to give our kids is that none of those shortcuts are authentic. Things that you mentioned that are plaguing our society tend to distract our kids from their real goal. The idea of life when it's conceived is not important. In our society, we're looking at 18-year-olds that we don't consider important. So, the real focus is that we are told that God knew us before we were formed in the womb, and they matter, and they're that important from that moment of conception until the time they end up in my school and beyond. The society tends to give them shortcuts to success, shortcuts to happiness, and there is a shortcut, but that's the way, the truth, and life, which is Jesus Christ and everything that He
brought. Sure, we worship a powerful God, an awesome God, and we have an amazing Pope right now in the Vatican. The leadership closer to home, Archbishop Lori, have you been in touch with him? What is he saying? Has he been in the area? Do you plan on talking to him more about what's happening now in the neighborhood?
Yes, he's been very much in touch. In fact, the first night of the breakout of the disturbances, I got a phone call from him actually while we were doing the revival, and I had to call him back later. But that's the kind of archbishop he is. He's very attentive to us on the ground, and he was making sure his priests were safe and secure. He was asking what we were doing, how he could help. He called some meetings in these past few days together of pastors of how they're responding, how the diocese can support them. He's participated in interfaith meetings with other religious leaders of the city. So he's been very much in touch with what's been happening.
I'm so sorry. We've run out of time. I want to talk to you about so much, but I do want to tell you on behalf of myself, Currents, and DeSales, I admire your strength, and I admire that you're keeping up with these revivals, and I admire what you're bringing to your neighborhoods. And our prayers are with you, and we thank you so much for just being part of our faith and talking to everybody about how important it is to keep the faith and be strong. Thank you so very much. God bless both of you.
Likewise. God bless you too. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. God bless.